Hey everybody, it's Jason from the Texas Gun Vault, and once again I'm coming to you with another field strip video. And today's field strip video is on a gun I recently did a range report on, and this is this very beautiful B&T APC223. And this is the Pro version in flat dark earth, and isn't that just a pretty color? I personally love flat dark earth guns. So let's take this thing apart. Let's see what it's made of, and then we will put it back together. So I don't have a magazine right now, so we don't have to take that out and check for ammunition, but we will safety check the firearm. So let's turn it to the other side. We will pull the charging handle back. We will ensure that there is no ammunition in the chamber. It looks like we are clear. Now we will take the safety, we will put that on so we don't accidentally drop the hammer. The first thing we're going to want to do is remove the back pin, and the only way that you can do this is with the stock, or in this case the brace, fully closed. So the two tools you might need for this is a little punch. In this case I'm going to be using a Glock disassembly tool and maybe a little hammer of some kind, and this time I'm just using a little rawhide hammer. So we're just going to gently start these pins out of the lower receiver. Sometimes they can be in there a little bit tight. Then we'll turn the gun over and we should be able to pull these out. Front one's really tight here, so I may have to go on this side and do it a little bit more. And there we go. Then all we have to do is drop the lower receiver, take that off, and there we go. We can set that aside. Then when it comes to either the stock or the brace, you're going to push down on the back pad of it, and it should just come right out. And there we have the famous B&T hydraulic buffer. We can set that aside. Then what we're going to do is we're going to take out the bolt and the bolt carrier. And so now we're going to pull back on the charging handle, and you want to be a little careful on this. Go slow. We'll pull it back to about this point. We can now pull out the recoil spring assembly. Then we can pull it back even further, and we should be able to take out and push out the bolt and the bolt carrier. We'll disassemble that further in just a moment. If you want to, you don't have to when you clean it, but you can take out the charging handle, which is ambidextrous, and all you have to do is take it back to this little disassembly hole, and both of these should pull out of the mechanism inside. It just has to be lined up perfect. There's one. Go to the other side. There's two. And then you can take out this little block just like that, and that's what the charging handles go inside of. It's also recommended that occasionally you do clean out the gas system, so we're going to go to the front of the gun and we're going to remove the piston, the tappet, and the gas plug. The gas plug is here on the front, and what we're going to have to do is rotate it to where the flat portion of the plug lines up with the barrel. So you might have to take this little punch right here and push in on that detent, and then you can rotate the plug to where it lines up. So see if I can do this on camera here. The angle is a little bit on the weird side, and there we go. And let's pull out the whole system here. So in the front we have the plug, then we have the tappet, and then you have the piston. And then let's go to the bolt and bolt carrier. So what you're going to want to do is push that bolt back into the carrier, and if it's all the way back, you should be able to pull out the pin right here, the cam pin, set that aside, and then you can pull the bolt out from the front. And that is a completely field stripped B&T APC223 Pro. Now, if you really want to, you can take out the firing pin by punching out this little pin right here, but normally you don't have to do that. So once again, that is the complete field strip. So let me go ahead and wipe all this down, get it oiled, and let's put it back together. All right, so we got this thing all cleaned up, oiled, and ready to put back together. So let's go in the opposite way that we disassembled it. Let's start with the bolt and bolt carrier. So you'll take your carrier and you're going to insert the bolt, of course, from the front. Now there's a little latch here on the side, and what you may have to do with your little punch is push in on the back of that, which will allow you to install the bolt the rest of the way. So I'm going to lay this down right here, push that little latch, and now I can insert the bolt. And of course, make sure it's in there. And there we go. And of course, you want to make sure that the bolt is aligned with where the ejection port will be, just like an AR-15. We'll now go to this side of the carrier, and we will install the cam pin. Make sure it goes in all the way, and then of course we can pull the bolt out, and that is the bolt and bolt carrier reassembled. So now let's start with the front of the firearm again with the gas system. Let's go ahead and assemble that. We have our piston. We'll put the tappet on the front, and then we will put that into the gas plug, and then we can put that into the front of the receiver, just like this. And you got to make sure it gets lined up with the ports, and there we go. And then all you have to do is push down on the plug and rotate it, and now it's back in. That's really easy and very simple. Now we're going to install our charging handles. So we're going to take that little piece that the charging handles go into, and we are going to slide it in like this, with the more narrow part facing the front and the longer surface facing the top. So we'll slide that into the rails here. Make sure it comes back far enough where those holes align with the disassembly notch. You can take your levers there and install it on each side, and you can now push that forward, and they work. Then we will install the bolt and bolt carrier. Make sure it goes in all the way. Install your recoil spring assembly. Now we're going to put on the brace in this case, but it's the same if it's a telescoping stock. Now when I install it, I like to pull the brace out because you have less of the arms rubbing against the receiver. We will push that in and then push it up. And this could be a little bit tricky, and there we go. Now it is locked into place. And now we will take our lower receiver, and if you've pushed those pins back in when you cleaned it, you got to of course open those back up. I may have to push this one out on this side again, because when I cleaned it, I closed it up. All right, so let's get those pins out of there, and then we can install the lower on to the upper. And now we're going to have to close the brace or the stock again so the pin can go through it. There we go in the back and in the front. And once again, that pin might be a little bit tricky to get in there. And so you might have to take that soft hammer and lightly tap it in. And there you go. That is a complete field strip and reassembly of the B&T APC223 Pro in flat dark earth. And of course, just kind of function check the firearm, and it looks like we are good. You can now take it off of safe, make sure the hammer falls, and we are good to go. So there you go, field strip APC223 Pro from B&T. I hope this video helps somebody in the future. So let me know if you have any questions. And as always, thanks for watching.